Social Security's dying, but it's not quite dead yet. But we're getting close. It's kind of about hospice. Hi, I'm Paul Mauro. Let's talk about all the dire predictions for Social Security that are coming out as of right now. And a lot of them have to do with changes in the U.S. economy and immigration and other things. But let's just say it's not way off in the future. It's right here at our doorstep. So here are the numbers. Social Security is a very valuable program. It's a great part of the Cradle to Grave Security program that was put in place to reduce poverty in America. Social Security was a great poverty reducing program for senior citizens. There's many senior citizens who rely on Social Security, about 72 million of them. And as a result, it's one of the biggest line items in the budget, which we won't go into, but let's just say that cuts to Social Security are being discussed, and that's a very scary thing for seniors. Right now, in 2025, as I'm talking to you, they've just revised down the death of full Social Security from 2034 to 2030. What does that mean? For years, we've been saying in 2034, Social Security looks like it's going to run out of money and they might have to cut benefits or raise taxes or do something. Now they pushed it back to 2030. That's, by the way, just like 4.5 years from now. And the reason is changes that are being made in reducing tax collections. It's just like your own bank account. If you reduce tax collections, you have less money. So if you basically get rid of taxes on, certain Social Security benefits or tips or this or that, it's less incoming FICA payments. Those are the federal payments for Social Security. Less incoming means less money. Also, some of you know, the immigration math is really simple. Immigrants are paying $95 billion into Social Security for which they would never collect a dime. Those immigrants that are essentially being put out of their work or deported or whatever, let's just say that's a $95 billion shortage. That shortage is the reason why they took the projected sort of end of full Social Security from 2034 to 2030. Now, this is a really big topic because here we are in 2025, and here is the math. For years, Social Security has been a cash flow program. There were people working and paying, 5 of them, in 1960, for every one person that's retired, collecting. The money goes into the system, the money goes out. It's not a savings program, it's a cash flow program, okay? And then for every one retiree, it went down in the 1980s to 4 people. Now, why is that? Well, we've gone through an evolution in America of family planning, and we're having less babies. So in fact, right now, as of 2025, we're down to 2.5, if my thumb is a half, 2.5 people paying for every one retiree. So all the money that's going in FICA payments that's flowing out to these retirees is just barely covering the cost of that Social Security check. So the issue is that we have 11,000 people turning 65 every single day in America. 11,000 people turning age 65. And our birth rate has dropped so that there's only 9,000 babies being born. Okay, what does that mean? Every single day, the math is really simple. 11,000 people that are going out there collecting Social Security checks from 65 on, probably living to 95 now, and we've got only 9,000 babies being born. So we're not even keeping up. So because our birth rate's been dropping and we have less babies, we're ending up with this Social Security shortage. So the number is projected to be 2030 that Social Security will not be able to pay full benefits. Now, it's not going to go bankrupt. When I say it's not dead, it's on hospice, I mean, it's really on life support right now. The Social Security Trust Fund, that was an extra amount of money that was set aside that the people very wisely planned after World War II for this baby boomer bubble of people that were born after World War II to really hit the system hard, which started about 10 years ago. That Social Security Trust Fund is depleted now. The extra money is depleted. So now we're definitely like a rental property where you're collecting just enough money to pay out the mortgage bill every month. And starting in 2030, you might not be able to collect enough money to pay the increasing cost of retirees. This, by the way, is in one of the chapters of my book on longevity. If you want to get a free copy of Longevity Planning, go ahead and email me, leave us some comments, share this with any of your friends that are 50 and over. This isn't a book about wealth building for young people. I have a book about wealth building also that was just written. You can get that later, but for this topic, longevity planning is the key, because a lot of these retirees that are retiring are going to live a good long life, and we're going to have to pay them many, many, many Social Security checks. We have this little issue of reduced births, lack of immigration payments coming in, and we have a lot of people with the wealth gap that don't pay Social Security. So let me just say, here's what's happened in America. This thing called the wealth gap is really kind of significant. The fastest growing demographic in America is billionaires. We went from 500 billionaires just 10 years ago to 2,500 billionaires now. But that's just an indication of how much wealth is growing. And the difference between the wealthy class and the lower income class is that lower income people pay FICA on their incomes, but it runs out. There's no more FICA collections at about $140,000. That means that if someone earns a tremendous amount of money, they don't pay any FICA on that. Like FICA stops. So it's collected up to $140,000. So if you earn $240,000, that's $100,000 for free. $340,000, $200,000 for free. So upper income people do not pay Social Security on all their income. Lower income people pay Social Security on all their income. That's just the way the system works. We don't need to get political about it, but it has created this, what we call the wealth gap in America. So what do you do? I know you're worried, and I know that anybody who's got a little gray hair like me, who's collecting a Social Security check now, we're looking forward to what's going to actually happen in 2030. So let's get prepared, okay? We need to prepare for this because economic things are changing in the world, and this is just as important as buying, dried fruit and getting your solar generator. Let's prep, okay? Let's be Social Security preppers, and let's get ourselves prepared for 2030. How can we do it? All right, if you have a $3,000 monthly payment now, and your expectation, your fear is that it will go down to $2,000 in 2030. This is a very big reality, by the way. Social Security is projected not to be able to pay full benefits in 2030. It'll be able to pay only 70%, because unless we get a lot of babies from somewhere, and unless they change the tax laws, unless they start collecting more Social Security payments from people, right, we're going to run short. So what do you do to make up that extra $1,000 of Social Security payments, right? Well, number one, I would suggest that a portion of your retirement income should be a non-political retirement income. I consider Social Security to be political retirement income because your retirement income is based on politicians and politics, right? You should have multiple streams of income, and income that is not based on some legislation, some tax law, some politician's decision about how much money you should make. So you need non-political retirement income. How do you do that? Well, there's a few different ways. If you look at, again, chapter 9 in my book on longevity, everyone should have multiple streams of income. One way, of course, is investing in equities that pay large dividends. A large dividend on a company like McDonald's or Philip Morris or other large dividend payers, right? These things are not subject to the income payments of Social Security. You can just change your portfolio. If you have a good portfolio manager, meet with and take the advice of your investment advisor and say you want to make sure that your portfolio wakes up in the morning ready to send you income checks. So go from a growth portfolio to a growth in income portfolio. Okay, go from a growth portfolio to a growth in income portfolio where it's designed to pay you out more money. That's number one. Okay, number two, if you have equity in your assets, take a look now before 2030 comes, right, in ways that you can generate income from your assets. Now, I will tell you, real estate is a traditional way to do this, of course. And if you've got rental income, and my family's very involved in rental income is not subject to the political whims or legislation of legislators. And it can add an extra $1,000 to your cash flow. Not everybody wants to participate in rental income. Sometimes they buy REITs real estate investment trusts. They buy other real estate type investments that are managed by other people that generate significant dividends. This can also be done by buying master limited partnerships in oil and gas. Look at income producing investments that can produce income for you on a passive basis. Now, when we get down to that, of course, there's always the traditional annuity contract. It's very easy, and it's a very good time to do this, that you can look at your assets and you can meet with your financial advisors and meet with your professionals, right? And make a decision that you want to convert more of your assets from growth to income. And I would suggest strongly converting some to guaranteed income to the tune of about 30% of your Social Security. So let me say again, if your Social Security payment is $3,000 and you're at all concerned about this, I understand. You should make some changes in your portfolio to lock in a guaranteed $1,000 a month. Now, you'd be shocked at how inexpensive it is. And one of the reasons is, in this particular time in history, there have never been higher annuity payments than there are today. So you need to put about half as much money in to a guaranteed lifetime annuity than you did 10 years ago. And you can set that annuity up. You don't even need to start taking payments today. You can set that thing up, let it accumulate for the future. Should Social Security be reduced, then you turn the spigot on and have your guaranteed lifetime annuity support you and make up the difference. So there are things you can do to protect yourself. And I know that you're worried about your income being depleted, but there are steps you can take and you can get from us. If you reach out to us, we have a 6-point checklist on how to supplement Social Security declines, right? And I hope that we won't need to support 100% of Social Security declines. I don't think it's going to die a complete death, but I do think based on the things that are happening today, you need to be ready. You need to be a Social Security prepper for 2030 to supplement any reduction in your Social Security income. So getting ready and preparing for the future and keeping your income up is just part of the art of being smart.